Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
Our fourth topic comes from Brad Brickley. Wow, Moon Knight blew me away. Enjoyed it better than the first Wandavision episode. If the rest of the show is up to this level, it'll be my new favorite MCU series. Isaac, Hawke, and the rest of the cast and crew were superb. What was everyone's thoughts on this new show? But I mean, what mostly was Rob's thought?
All right, well, before we throw it over to Rob here, yesterday was game day, and last night, the first episode of Moon Knight. Now, just so you guys know, who are watching at home right now, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, we will be doing our Moon Knight open spoiler discussion. So if you guys want to come back and talk about Moon Knight and that episode and all of its spoilery goodness, come back and join us for that at 4 o'clock. Now, that said, this was a show that I was very interested in. I wasn't losing my mind for it like a lot of people, but as the ads started coming out, we started to see more clips, I started to get pretty excited. I mean, not as excited as I was for, say, Falcon the Winter Soldier when it first came out, although I didn't love Falcon the Winter Soldier, but I was so excited about that. Not as excited as I was for, like, say, Mandalorian or whatever, but I've been fascinated by it. So it was with great interest that last night I tuned in to watch the first episode of Moon Knight. My God, it's awesome. It is fantastic. And, you know, we've got a tradition around here for game day. Ray comes over, we get some food. My buddy Ryan comes over, Ann's up, and we watch the first thing. And I got to tell you, it's been a beat since we watched an episode 1 of a new Disney Plus show, and we're really happy with it. Because I was not for Hawkeye episode 1. I was not for the Book of Boba Fett episode 1. I didn't totally love episode 1 of Loki. Oh, I liked it. It's been a little while since we stayed up to midnight and watched this new thing, and I was hooked from frame 1. Like, you got this guy getting out of bed who's got sand poured around his bed and his leg buckled up, and it's like, what's going on here? And they immediately, there's no wasted screen time in this. I mean, they dive right into the mystery aspects of it. You're trying to figure out what's happening. The cool stuff is happening, all that kind of stuff. And again, we're not going to go into any specifics because we'll save that for the spoiler discussion later. All I will say is this. I absolutely loved Oscar Isaac in this role. I loved Handsome Hawke in his role.
It was great.
You're starting to get an idea about what's going on. And all I will say is the end sequence is so good. And it's one of those things that reminds me of Heroes, where the first episode ends and with the whole thing about, save the cheerleader, save the world. And you understand at the end of Heroes episode, where like the world's gone to hell and what caused it. This episode ends with me like, no, please don't end. Please don't end. And right on the edge of your seat. God, I love this thing. It's been a while. I don't know that I've loved an episode 1 of a Disney Plus show like this since WandaVision episode 1. I completely loved it. Rob, you've been waiting a long time for Moon Knight, and heading into it, while excited, you're also a little bit apprehensive because what we've been seeing in the promos is not any of the Moon Knight iterations you remember, but rather an amalgamation of them, something new. You were curious to see how it's going to turn out. You watched the first episode. I purposely didn't ask you about it when you came in this morning. What did you think about episode 1 of Moon Knight?
Okay. I had a very interesting experience watching this show because this iteration of Moon Knight that we got is very different from that first volume of Moon Knight comics that I had read, that I fell in love with the character with. We're talking all the way back to 1980, the Doug Mensch, Bill Sienkiewicz run for the first 30 issues of Moon Knight Volume 1. Very, very different. This takes a lot of things from later iterations of Moon Knight that really had nothing to do with the character that I had originally fallen in love with. That said, John, I love this. I thought it was something new and unique, and they drew from a number of different aspects of Moon Knight history, mostly the last 20 years, really. But it was so well done. It was so beautifully directed. The car chase scene, the truck chase on the mountain road was beautifully done. The location work was great. They're not on green screens. They shot this in in Budapest. And Oscar Isaac was amazing. And the way they intercut the editorial work, when they would intercut through scenes in periods of time, it was really beautifully done. I thought this was absolutely one of the most accomplished, along with WandaVision, which was also very well directed. This was, from a cinematic standpoint, one of the most, this looks like a movie. You know, it's one of the most accomplished.
I want to say something. 10 minutes into the show, Ray, who was sitting out there with us, said, this looks like a movie. It just, the way it was shot, also just the cinematography of it, the whatever frame rates or whatever, it felt more cinematic than any of the other previous shows. I thought it really did feel that way.
And you had two movie stars.
Yeah.
You know, you had Ethan Hawke, who we've been watching all the way back to Explorers in the 80s, and watching Oscar Isaac. I mean, Oscar Isaac, my God, is he good in this. And the cosmology, John, and I don't want to say much, but the storyline with these warring gods, there's something really interesting going on here that's going to play into, I think, the greater cosmology of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And bringing in, I mean, they're flat out going supernatural with this, and I love it. I love it. I think it's incredible. And let me just talk about F. Murray Abraham as the voice of Khonshu.
Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass, and as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.
I mean, come on. It was, you know,
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought it was J.K. Simmons. When
Right?
I first heard the voice, I thought, is J.K. Simmons doing the voice in this?
Yeah.
So I was, while it was not at all the Moon Knight that was in the screenplay I wrote when I was in high school, not at all. I loved this is its own thing, and I love it. And I can't wait to get the Hot Toys. I can't wait to see where it goes. I really love this idea, what Ethan Hawke is trying to do, and the iconography of the scales.
Right, wait, do I not want to give too much away?
Oh, yeah,
Those who
sorry.
haven't seen it yet.
It's very fascinating to me, and I am very, it might be, I mean, this first episode was by far my favorite first episode of any Marvel TV series, even more than WandaVision.
It was right up. By the way, I'm going to say, this will be so out of context that any of you who haven't seen the episode yet, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But my favorite moment, I think, of the episode that told you everything so much about the character and the charm of it, whatever, is 2 words: steak time. I laughed so hard and wanted to cry at the same time. Again, if you haven't seen the episode, you'll have no idea what we're talking about.
But I wanted
steak time.
Yeah, there's one other thing. You know, people talk about the dissociative identity disorder.
Yes.
That this show portrays how terrifying. I kept thinking about people that actually have it, and if this is anything like what it's really like to have dissociative identity disorder, I never want to have it, and I have a lot of sympathy for people that do, because that aspect of the show is absolutely terrifying to me.
Anyway, Chris, I'm going to assume you had a chance to watch it. I didn't bring it up before the show because I didn't want to hear anybody's thoughts before we did it. But if so, your thoughts and impressions of Moon Knight episode 1.
Man, this was so great. And you guys are right. It did look like a movie. And I think part of that is they were just very, very judicious in how they used CGI. Even just the way the camera focused on certain things, just you'd see something maybe in the background and go, ooh, what is that? It's the same way how Signs was great until you finally saw the alien, right? When it's just looming in the background, they're using shadow and they're using cameras to make things look really realistic and menacing. Oh, so good. Everyone in this is great. Ethan Hawke is wonderful. At one point, though, that first moment, too, Logan looks at me and goes, who's he think he is? Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade? What is this? I loved his character. I'm so intrigued to learn more about him and what he's after. Oscar Isaac is so great. That whole stake time scene, you become so ingratiated to this character, along with his relationship with Gus and other things like that.
Right.
I mean, it's so well done, and you're left wanting more. And those edits, like Rob talked about, oh my gosh, the final scene, y'all. Oh, it's so good. It's like a great version of Fight Club. An already great thing escalated. It's so good.
By the way, we've talked a little bit here about the last scene without any details. The very first scene, the first thing that happens on camera. I'll let you know this part. He drinks something, and then something happens, and we're sitting here watching, going, ah! Like we're like, no, what is he doing? Yeah. Like I don't think, like no other. I can't remember the last time a TV show got me as emotional response out of me from its very first shot and scene.
And without showing anyone's face or speaking.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I was like, oh my God, what are they doing?
John, there was one thing, though, that I thought about after the first episode was over. I'm like, why isn't this a movie?
I agree. I agree.
I'm watching this going, they've shot this in Europe. You've got 2 movie stars. Sure, it's not going to cost $100 million, or maybe they did spend a lot of money, that kind of money on it. But I looked at this and I'm like, this is a movie. And I really would have paid big money to go see this in a theater. And, it wasn't, again, with those long credits, it still was only like 39 minutes or 38 minutes long. And it's only 6 episodes. And I'm like, I really wish this was a film.
It is, Rob. It's a 6-hour film.
Except not played as such. Well,
it felt like a movie, and that's what I really liked about it.
Did you and Tom, I know Tom is going to watch this for sure, but did you and Tom have a chance to watch it yet? And if so, what did you think?
Okay, admittedly, we did not watch it. Good reason. It is currently pilot season. I had a 10-page audition yesterday for an Apple TV show that I will tell you guys about after this.
Wow.
It's a big, cool one. And a 13-page sitcom audition. And Tom had an audition, and we had to do all of those yesterday. So, and finally went to bed at 1 a.m. So we are watching it as soon as I get home. But I just want to comment to something that you mentioned, Rob, as far as like the portrayal of it. In the chat, Jake and Shaw, I hope that I pronounced your name right, shared, as someone who has it, it is very terrifying. I think the show is being very respectful about it. First of all, Jake, and thank you for sharing that and for letting us know that the show is being respectful. And I think that that's one of the powerful things about entertainment, is that in addition to just telling a story, it can also hopefully elicit a little bit of compassion for people who are going through something and struggling with something that, for those of us who don't have it or don't understand it, are completely immune from, don't have any understanding to. So again, Jake, and thank you for sharing that. And I love the fact that this show is handling it with the respect that it deserves, and will hopefully elicit some compassion and a little bit more understanding from the rest of us.
Somebody in the live chat was saying, well, I'm glad it's not a movie because I'd rather a 6-hour Moon Knight thing. Well, this isn't going to be 6 hours. This is going to probably end up being about 3 hours and 35 minutes. Like after you take out their 17-minute credits. Because, man, my God, I've never seen TV shows have longer credits than these Marvel MCU
Well, because
shows.
There's a lot of people involved.
Yeah, they're shot like movies. I mean, and this one, Wandavision also was brilliantly made, brilliantly photographed. I mean, they all have been.
Was, yeah.
But there was the stylization of this. And I really thought, I mean, again, there's something about watching movie stars that have that kind of acting ability.
Right.
Oscar Isaac was so good. So good. And I'm like, wow, this is really something special, because this performance to me, Emmy all over it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to watch Moon Knight episode 1? If so, what did you think? Don't forget, guys, once again, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, we will be doing our open spoiler discussion of Moon Knight episode 1. Hope you guys will come back and join us. If you have seen it, what did you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.